Hi, this is Mrs. Cornitz, and we are looking at decimals tomorrow, looking at adding and subtracting decimals. And so, what we're going to do to start out with is look at these three problems right here, 5 minus 17 hundredths. And what we notice here is that the 5 is lined up with different place values. Here, the 5 is lined up with the ones, the 5 is lined up with the tenths. The 5 is lined up with the hundredths. And people might be confused about this a little bit because the 5 doesn't have a decimal point on it. And so they may think, I'm not really sure where to put it because I don't have a decimal point to line up. But we can infer that when there's no decimal point, the decimal point is actually just to the right of that number. When we look at this, we're not confused about whether this is 5 or 50 or 500. We know that it's 5 ones. And so since that's 5 ones, it's going to go in the ones place. And so something that can help us to think about these problems a little bit more is a situation for this problem. Claire bought a photo for 17 cents and paid with a $5 bill. So this is how we would write 17 cents in the dollar format. Here's $5. We can add our decimal point and our zeros on here. Without changing the value of that 5, that $5 is $5 and no cents. So we add those no cents on there, and then it's a little bit easier for us to see what we do when we subtract. And of course, we subtract just doing the same thing we do as if there was no decimal point there. So I have 0 100ths to be able to subtract 7 100ths from. I had 0 tenths to be able to get some more hundredths, so I had to go all the way to the ones place. I unbundled the ones and left 4 there, took 1 over here and turned it into 10 tenths. Now I'm going to take one of those tenths away from there, unbundle it to make 10 100ths. And now I can do my subtraction. 10 minus 7 is 3. 9 minus 1 is 8. And so we would have $4.83 left. Now, we have some other problems which are kind of fun. So for this one, we know that we are starting with 404 thousandths, and we add something to that to equal 1, and we need to figure out what that is. And so I can start over here. I can go ahead and fill in these missing digits here if I want to. So this is 1 and 0 thousandths. So I can fill in those zeros, and then I can think of what do I add to 4 so that I would get 10. Add 6, and when I do that, I get 10. So I put my 0 there. I carry my 1 up here, and now I have 1 plus something equals 10. So I'm going to put a 9 in there. And now 5 plus something. Well, 5 plus 5 plus 10. And so my missing number here is 596 thousandths. We can do that again over here. So that was addition. We'll do the same thing with a subtraction problem. Subtraction can be a little bit trickier for people, but we do the same thing. We're going to go ahead and fill in those zeros there. It doesn't change the value of the 7 tenths. 7 thousandths is equal to 7 tenths, and now we can go ahead and decide. So I have something minus something equals 2. Well, I need to turn that into something, so I'm going to unbundle the 7. Same with the 10. And so now I can do 10 minus something equals 2. 10 minus 8 equals 2. 9 minus something equals 1. 9 minus 8 equals 1. And 6 minus something equals 0. 6 minus 6 equals 0. And if I were to add this up, 2 plus 8 is my 10. 1 plus 1 plus 8 would be my 10, 1 plus 6 would equal 7. So when I add these two numbers together, I get the number I started out with, so I know that I'm correct. So working with adding and subtracting with decimals, if the decimal point is missing, we can put it on because the decimal point is always assumed when a number is written without a decimal point. It's always assumed to be on the right side. And when we're finding mystery numbers, it can be helpful to fill in those zeros, even though those zeros don't add anything to the one. They help us to mentally work our way through a problem. Same with the zeros that we added to the 7/10. That helps us to kind of keep our bearings as we're working through there.